Choosing Chaos, Solo Motherhood by Choice, the podcast for women who are done waiting for the one and ready to become the parent on their own damn terms. We're talking fertility, pregnancy, emotional chaos, and the village that it takes to raise a kid. Sometimes you're crying in the bathtub. Sometimes you're crying because your toddler bit you. And sometimes you cry because you chose all of this. Welcome to motherhood, solo style. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Choosing Chaos, Solo Motherhood by Choice. I am your host, Laura. Today's episode is a special one, perfect as we kick off a brand new year and begin to refocus our goals and our priorities. Let's dive in. Today, we're joined by Kelly Hubble, founder of Sage Haus, a company that helps busy families, especially moms, reclaim their time and energy by outsourcing the mental load and creating home systems that actually work. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us to kick some things off here. What misconceptions do you find people have about the mental load and delegation at home?
Oh gosh, well, thanks for having me.
Of course.
I think that misconceptions that people have are people are very quick to think that it's not that much. Like I think that moms are constantly underselling themselves in how much they are actually holding and doing. And I think about that as like open tabs in your brain of like all of the things that you're tracking and this mental load of like to ensure that everyone is taken care of and thriving in your household. And I would say most moms would probably say like, "Oh yeah, I just do this, right? I'm just or like I'm just a stay at home mom, or I just volunteer, or whatever that is." And I think that that is like really underselling how much work is actually goes into
Being
being
a
a
mom. Yeah.
and, and I know from my own experience that when I finally totaled up all the time I was spending managing my household, it was like over 20 hours a week. It was basically a part-time job on top of my full-time job. So, yeah, I guess I would say that.
Would you factor in taking care of the kids as a part of that?
Well, I mostly no, because that's 24/7.
Yeah.
Unless they're at school. But no, mostly like just the household management tasks of like all of the other things that it takes
Yeah.
outside of, yeah, childcare and like managing,
Mm-hmm.
like managing kids. Yeah,
So 2 full-time jobs you were basically working plus a half-time.
yeah,
Oh my
pretty much.
gosh. Where did you find time or how did you find time for yourself?
I didn't until we found a house manager, which is so life changing for our family. And that is why I have now dedicated my career to help other families find that kind of support. For us, I was burning the candle at both ends. I was feeling really, really burnt out and overwhelmed. And this was a little over 4 years ago. I was working a full time corporate job in a demanding career. My husband's a small business owner, entrepreneur. And um, this was right after we had our second, my daughter, and really like the wheels started falling off the bus in terms of
Mm.
just all of the things that I was trying to cram into these like early morning hours or late night hours to just keep our household running. And for us, for our family, like my kids were in preschool, they were in daycare, and it wasn't necessarily that we needed the childcare. It was more that we needed holistic support that was like versatile. Like I needed a clone of myself to do the grocery shopping and the meal prepping and the laundry and running errands and picking up prescriptions and doing Amazon returns and just all of that stuff, right? That we're like
Great.
probably fitting into our weekends and like our nights. And so anyway, to answer your question, I wasn't getting a lot of that. Then when we started finally investing in more support for our family, felt like I was finally able to breathe and like go to a yoga class, go take a tennis class, like go be a person and
Yeah.
like take care of myself.
It's funny that we're having this conversation because I was just talking to somebody last week about how the piles of laundry since I had my son, like I'll fold them, put them away after they've sat there for a week or two, and then it will just be another pile of laundry and then another pile of laundry. So it's never ending. And I feel like I'm living in a constant state of clutter with all the things. It's not just the laundry, it's everything else. But becoming a mom, you don't realize
all the things that we do on a daily basis. And then these extra steps on top of being a mom and working are so much work. Doing the laundry, doing the dishes, cooking the meals, going to the stores. I would love to have somebody just take my son to appointments sometimes when I have a lot, like a heavy workload. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's game changing to have it just a second pair of hands, like you said.
Right. Tell me, as you went through all of this, what sort of created Sage House?
Yeah, so that personal experience that I just described to you is really like how Sage House was born. Like I mentioned, we had just a big life change, and it was such a positive change for our life to find that kind of support for our family. And so I started telling other moms and women in my network and colleagues, and honestly, anybody who would listen to me, I was telling them, like shouting from the rooftops, like, hey,
Yeah.
this is the solution we found for our family, and it works for us, and it might work for another family. And sure enough, I had a lot of people, a lot of like these women in my network calling me and like asking me questions like, how did I find this person? Where, what do they help us with? All of these questions,
You
and
trust
I was
them.
answering them, and
Yeah.
then eventually I just thought, wow, the world needs this basically a bundle of resources, if you will, of all of the things that go into finding and hiring and managing like having a house manager or a family assistant. And
Hmm.
so that's really like was the first foray of Sage House. Was I had this 45-minute digital course called How to Hire a House Manager. And then I got great feedback, but most families were like, this is amazing, but I actually realized I don't have 50 hours laying around to like find my own house manager unicorn Mary Poppins. Can you help me find this person? And so that's exactly what I started doing a year and a half ago. We started doing all that hard work, running the same process that I ran for my family, that we started running for families all over the US and Canada. At the beginning of 2025, it was just me taking on about 3 families a month. And then we now serve 25 families a month all over the US. And we've got a team here at Sage House that work with our families in like a very concierge service of learning about the family and then really finding them their perfect fit.
How does that process begin? They reach out to you. I'm assuming you have like a little interview with the families. What does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, so that process really starts with a kickoff call. Like you mentioned, that's like a deep dive in really learning everything we need to know about a family. So we get to it's typically around an hour, and like we learn everything about like their routines, their needs, their pain points, their what they might be looking for in someone in terms of personality traits and roles and all the roles and responsibilities and for that role. And the outcome of our kickoff call with a family is this custom tailored job description that we put together, and from there, we go and do all the hard work. So we are posting the job, we are vetting candidates, screening applicants, going through resumes and cover letters, and basically recruiting, right? We're doing all
Right.
the hard work. And then within 4 to 6 weeks of that, we present a family with 2 top candidates that meet all of the criteria that we've deemed is sort of their desired roles and responsibilities for this role. And then we work with them the whole rest of the process and the whole way through. We provide an employment agreement for them to use. Of course, we coordinate all of the interviews, we debrief with them, we provide them with an agreement they can use to document the relationship. We call references on their behalf, provide them with references. We run very extensive background checks on
Yeah.
behalf of the families we work with, and then we provide them with this what we call our home systems playbook, which is really a consolidation of best practices for onboarding someone into your home so they really learn how you like things done, where things are, like how to think through systemizing your home so that a house manager or family assistant can really come in and on day one feel like they can hit the ground running.
Is this mostly a full-time gig or could it be part-time?
Most of the families we work with are looking for part-time support.
Okay.
So that said, we will find someone full-time, and some of our families do want full-time support.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority of the families we work with really are like craving, 10, 15, 20 hours a week.
Yeah. Is there anything off limits for them to be able to take care of for a family?
I mean, I have yet to really have to say to a family, like, that's off limits for a house manager responsibility. The way that I typically describe a house manager to someone is like someone who would do anything for your family that you would do for your family. I don't think you can expect a house manager to like be a general contractor and like build
Right.
a new laundry room, but like anything you would do for your family, I don't think it's unreasonable for someone like a house manager or family assistant to take on.
That's really nice to know. As you were building out Sage House, anything funny or unexpected happen in the
Oh
process?
my gosh. I feel like every day is a little bit unexpected in just like growing a business.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think that I knew that there was a need for this. In my mind, I just thought, gosh, this seems so obvious. Like, I think up until this point, we've been told sort of as this, like our society and culture has told us, if you need more support, you just need a nanny or like you just need house cleaners. And to me, it's like, hold on, families need so much more than that. Like, we really need more support than that. There's so much more going on in our lives than just childcare and cleaning. I guess what I didn't expect was like just how much demand there would be for this. And so I think our blessing and curse is that we have so many families who want to work with us and like who want to find a house manager or family assistant that we are right now just like doing the best we can and like servicing as many families and as we possibly can.
I think of it as you spend money on a nanny, you spend money maybe on meal prepping or hiring somebody to do that for you, like Factor or whatever that is, that meal service. Then you hire a maid. You're basically hiring one person to help you do all of those things. So, budget wise, that might be more cost effective. What does that look like from a perspective of hiring a part time house manager?
Yeah, so I hear that all the time, actually. So the families that we jump on with, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I have a dog walker. We get these like meals prep. We have grocery delivery. We have
Yep.
like we're outsourcing our laundry." It's like if you could consolidate all of those things into like one role and also have it so that it's someone who really knows you and your family and like then the laundry isn't just like plopped on your doorstep. It's like actually put away. And like
Yeah.
your groceries aren't just like sitting in bags, like they're actually put away, right? Like how much more value would that bring to your life to really have someone own that process from start to finish? Yeah, that's a really good point. We hear that often.
Is it relatively cost effective? I'm assuming it's different based off of the geographic location of where you live.
Yeah, so it depends. People say like how much should I spend on a house manager? I say it
Right.
depends. Depends on where you live and it depends on how much experience they have. I typically give a big range, like 25 to 45 an hour based on those sort of elements. And that's kind of what we're seeing across the board.
Really. How do you ensure that hiring feels accessible to everybody, especially when it comes to a budget?
We work with families. We don't have a minimum to work with us. So like if a family comes to us and said like we need somebody 6 hours a week or we need somebody full time, like our job is to help find that person. One thing is that we don't have a minimum to work with us. And then we feel really strongly just about like working within the budget of the family that we're working with. So we of course come to our kickoff call and the table with here is a compensation range that we feel comfortable finding top tier talent at based on your geographic location, based on the families that we've worked with in the past. But we're not going to put anything in a job description until a family confirms that like they, can afford this.
Yeah, it's very personalized, is what I'm hearing, based
Ve-
off of the family, based off the needs, the budget, their preferences, and then you find one person that might fit across multiple families.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we work with one family at a
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Um, so we have yet to really like place a house manager across multiple families. A lot of times families want like very similar times and things that they
Yeah.
want. So it's a
Hmm.
little bit tricky to do that, but it's not saying that it can't be done. It can. It's just a matter of like two families having kind of opposite schedules, if you will, of like needs.
That makes a lot of sense because most people would want things either early in the morning during lunch or in the evenings. And so those would be your prime times to have a house manager.
Yes, and a lot of families we work with scope like childcare into the role, or like kids activity supervision, driving kids to an activity or picking them up or something. And a lot of that is happening in like the afternoon hours.
Do you have anybody in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we've worked with a lot of families in Pennsylvania.
I might have to keep this in mind a little bit more. So, just a fun question for you. What's the funniest mom fail that perfectly sums up your life before Sage House?
Oh man. Um Gosh, I mean, can't even tell you the amount of times that I've like forgotten picture day or like not packed a lunch. Like, I mean, so many things fall through the cracks when you've got kids going in different directions, so you're solo parenting because your spouse is traveling or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to dig deeper probably for more than that, but
Those are good ones. Why do you think the mental load is so invisible yet so heavy for us moms?
well, it's invisible because no one can really see what's going on in our head and what we're doing. And that's exactly like what makes it so heavy,
Yeah.
that we think that we're the only ones that can manage it. And it's not really the case. We actually can get all of that information and all of that invisible labor, make it visible and like put it into systems. And I believe that we actually can like delegate it so that
Mhm.
we can get help and get more support.
Do you find that there's like a sense of vulnerability or the admission of I can't do all of the things? Because as women, we're used to doing all the things, right? That's just like
Mhm.
sort of what we expect of ourselves. We don't want to be seen as a failure, I
Yeah.
guess is maybe that word that we all hate to use, but it's
Yeah.
true. So do you feel a lot of people are hesitant to want to ask for that help and hire a house manager because of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's really like the biggest barrier that I
Yeah.
still see is, again, like culturally, societally, we've been told that we can do it all, we can have it all. And it's just not the case. It's not the truth. And so I think that we are every day sort of battling this myth of being told that we should be able to do it, all of it. And so I think we're just now like kind of coming to terms with actually it might not be the healthiest thing for us, like mentally, physically, spiritually, to
Right.
take all of that on. One person just can't do it all. And I am very like anti trying to be the super mom. I don't think that's like a, realistic thing to
It's not
be or
healthy.
want to be. So yeah, I think that we are kind of finally at this point where we're starting to change the narrative and make big changes to how do we share in the mental load? How do we make the invisible visible so that it's not just on us and like there's no martyrdom here in this sort of role.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even I know as myself that sometimes asking for that help is really just hard to do. It's that initial first step because I don't want to be seen like I am not capable of doing it. I don't want to be seen as like a failure, to go back to what I had said before. But the more I talk to people through this and the more I hear from other women, it's okay. And like I'm starting to allow myself to break down those barriers where
Mhm.
asking for help is becoming slightly more easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as a single mom by choice, like there's so much on our plates and every mom. But many of our listeners are single moms by choice. So how do you help in that situation benefiting us when it comes to Sage House?
Yeah, well, I mean, single moms, single parents, we have worked with a lot of single parents, and like I can't honestly think of a better use case for having more support in your home, right? When you're going at it solo, like having an extra set of hands is invaluable. I would just say when you're thinking about budgeting for more support, like really taking into account like your mental health and like what's best for you and what's best for your family, and like are there ways that you can figure out how to get the support that you and your family need. Because yeah, I mean, it really does make all of the difference. It makes all the difference. And yeah, we've worked with like widowed single parents. We've worked with single parents by choice. And it's really powerful how much building your own village can really play a part in
Yeah.
making it an enjoyable experience for everybody.
Yeah. It makes life so much easier when you have one, the village, but when you have the additional support to add to that village and it just continues to grow. And something like this would be so beneficial for all of us, not just having the childcare support, but like you said, everything is sort of all encompassing in this one person, which would make life so much easier for each of us. I can speak from that personally. This would be an amazing benefit to my day for so many reasons. It would be a time saver for most of my day. I would probably get back several hours. I can't even
Oh
tell you
yeah.
right now if I estimated it.
You would get 5, 10, 15 hours back in your week.
Yeah,
For
for sure.
And
Do
just
you-
and again, it's not just about the time, it's more about like your ability to be present, like so that you're
yes.
not multitasking. You're not thinking through all the things that need to get done. You're just like able to just like spend time with people you want to spend time with or like do what really fills your bucket and that makes a big difference.
That is key for me because, yeah, for example, my son and I will finish dinner and I immediately go to, okay, I'll have to clean up all of his stuff and like his high chair has to be clean and everything before I can go play with him. So now he's playing by himself while I'm focused on these tasks. And I'm missing that time with him after he's just spent all day in daycare. I could definitely have that time back to spend with him.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, one of the things that's like been really big for our family is just having like meals prepped and ready to heat up so that we don't have a lot of dishes, we don't have a lot of like the prep time, the cleanup time, and so that allows us to just spend more time together before dinner because I'm not like making it, and then after dinner because there's not a lot of cleanup. That's been really big for us.
That sounds huge. Do you
Mhm.
have one story in the last year and a half that stands out to you as a life-changing experience that you want to share with us for somebody who is one of your clients? You don't have to
Yeah,
give a name.
I'm happy to share. Gosh, there's so many good stories. I don't even know. That we worked with a family in the Michigan area with 5 kids. Dad is a surgeon and mom is full-time stay at home, but like she's so busy running kids to schools and different activities and volunteering. And she also, has like a part-time job and they just needed more support. And I think they found us and we found them an amazing house manager to help them with all the things. And I was able to catch up with her after that, and she basically said, like, "You rescued our family," and, I was finally able to, like, sign up for that half marathon that I've been wanting to do, and I hired a running coach, and I'm, like, really doing something for myself for the first time in over a decade since having kids, and, like, that
Yeah.
really makes me feel like we're out here doing the work that I wanna be doing because I really wanna, like, help moms get their life back and,
Mhm.
feel like themselves again and get them the support that they need so they really don't feel like, "Gosh, this is all on me."
Yeah. We lose our pink, right? And you're helping them to find their pink again.
Yeah.
Have you heard that before? The
Yeah.
flamingo theory? That's what that made me think of as you were talking about that. What systems do you recommend that every household have in place before hiring a house manager?
Oh, man, this is what yeah, we've got a home systems playbook all about this. We think that, like, your support is really only as good as the systems that you have behind it. When you think about your home, there's this, list of all of the things that need to happen
Yeah.
to keep things going. And then you can, like, we really think about the world and breaking them out into systems like feeding the family as a system, keeping the house clean, and then like pets and plants and like other living things in your home. So, we've developed systems in like, keeping the house clean, for example, like what is your laundry schedule for the week? Like, how are you thinking about like what are best practices for like keeping your home tidy and like taking pictures, for example, of places in your home and like the way you want them tidied so that someone else can look and say, oh, that's how that room is. We live and die by systems because if there's no system, then like it doesn't work.
There's more chaos.
Even just having a system around like what are the standing grocery and pantry items that we need to have on hand all the time, and like how do we have a system around that so that like you're not constantly making a grocery list every day, right? Just like really thinking through like how do you run your home like a business, almost like with standard operating procedures for your home, so that anybody can help. Anybody can pick up that operating procedure and know like exactly what to expect.
So they would come in and see basically a binder of all the information that would be helpful to just like reference it whenever they have a question. But I mean, somebody's going to get the hang of it pretty quickly and know what you like and don't like.
Yes. And our binder is basically like a digital offering. That's a
Nice.
digital binder. And we've got we get our clients like 90% of the way there with our template so that they can kind of do that final push of like, here's everything, get all of this invisible out of my head and into paper, and then hand it off to somebody else.
I love that. What's one task that you will personally never do again because you've outsourced it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I will have to do things sometimes, right? Of course, but I feel like just like the grocery store runs are such a big, awesome thing to just have off my plate. Like not having to worry about like, do we have bananas and apples and bars and like all of these things my kids are constantly just like gobbling down
Yeah.
is really, really nice. Or like just to know like on the weekends we have eggs and bread so we can make French toast for the weekend. Like that's really lovely. And I don't have to think about that. I don't have to go to the grocery store. I don't have to think about the groceries. That's like a huge lift for me. That's a big one for sure.
That would be one of the biggest time savers because you're planning for the groceries, right? Well, first you're planning the meals, and then you're planning for the groceries, and then you're at the grocery store, then you're bringing them home, putting them away. It's just a whole process that
Yeah.
we can take off of our plate, really. Going back to something we talked about in the very beginning is the process of looking for a house manager, and trust is a big part of that, right? We want to be able to trust anybody that comes into our home. What would it look like, and you might not have come across this yet, if somebody breaks the trust of a family? How do you, as the owner of Sage House, take care of that and ensure that the family will never see that happen again?
Well, good question. The way that we work with families is the family is the employer. We are essentially like recruiting service, and we find the right fit and then set the family up for as much success as we possibly can. We provide a 60-day guarantee for the families that we work with. If anything goes wrong in the first 60 days, we provide a courtesy rematch. It doesn't happen very often. And I would just say our goal is to find long-term, consistent, incredible support for families. And that's what we're really out trying to do. Ultimately, it's up to the family that we work with, whether or not they want to hire somebody, keep them employed, all of that. And it's really up to them. And that's what's kind of nice is it's up to the family, how they choose to interact, how they choose to pay, how they choose to like, basically own the relationship.
Yeah.
Is really like, that's sort of when we step out, but we are here to support families and candidates on both sides. So we provide check-ins for families. We have now created a training and certification program for people who want to become house managers or who are house managers. We're really like trying to do everything we can to support both ends.
From both sides of it, there's definitely a trust building exercise there that's happening, but you're really setting both teams up for success through all of the work that you've put into play to make sure that it's just the best overall environment for everybody and opportunity to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
If any, is there one demographic where you see more of a demand right now than any others? Or
Oh,
geographic
gosh.
location, I should say.
I would say dual income working households. We're seeing so much need for this, especially with like return to office mandates. Families who are, parents who are working, they're either in the house or they're out, and they really just need more support because like they are working 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and there aren't a lot of hours left in the day to get everything else done.
No, with commutes now too. No,
Yeah.
there's not. I can't imagine driving downtown to the city and then having to drop my son off, pick him up, and all the other things, and take care of the dog. So that would be a nice benefit to have here. And so, is there one geographic location that you're seeing more of a demand?
Larger cities, San Francisco Bay Area, New York City, Los
Chicago.
Angeles, Dallas, Chicago, like big cities for sure.
And last question, where do you see Sage House in the next, say, 10 years?
Oh, I see Sage House as the gold standard platform for finding, hiring, successfully onboarding house managers, and then managing the ongoing relationship with them. So being able to collaborate with them. And yeah, that's kind of what I see. I think there's a huge opportunity for us, and we are doing everything we can to grow as quickly and sustainably as possible so that we can help as many families as we possibly can.
And I see that growth for you. I see a huge benefit out there for many families. It's going to be very beneficial for people to look into Sage House. If somebody is interested in hiring your services, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram. We are at My Sage House. It's spelled Haus. I'm also on LinkedIn, Kelly Hubble. Or you can email me to kelly@sagehouse.com or just go to sagehouse.com.
It has been such a pleasure getting to know you and about your company. And as we're having this conversation, I see it as a huge benefit for me in
Thanks.
many aspects of my life.
Yeah, well, I would love to support you and your audience.
Yes.
So I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Bye, Kelly.
Bye.
Before we wrap, remember this: life doesn't have to be perfectly organized to be well lived. The chaos is chosen, and Sage House is there to help you manage it by taking care of the day to day. They create space for you to breathe, rest, and focus on what actually matters. As we look ahead to 2026, maybe the goal isn't doing more, but reprioritizing you with support that helps maintain the beautiful chaos around you. If you are a listener of the show, be sure to follow along on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Patreon for more conversations like this. Until next time.